welcome live here at RCEA Park. That's Linton Street in Moorabbin, for those people who don't know. This is a wonderful facility. It's a wonderful day, although it hasn't started out that way with the rain, but it's going to clear up. We are at the SFNL Division 1 Grand Final. All roads lead to here for the Southern Football Netball League. The big dogs. It's going to be between the Cheltenham Rosellas and the Dingley Dingoes. The Dingley Dingoes have been here before. We're very lucky to be joined on the panel by Clint Brooks, the president of the Dingoes. Before I get to you, Clint, let's introduce the rest of the guys on the panel. This guy needs no introduction. It's Will Hunt. He's always here. How are you, Wilbur?
A little bit damp, but otherwise all right, Robbo.
He was out there just presenting medals firstly, but the rain came in as you welcomed on the reserves, mate. Unlucky, because it's cleared up as soon as you've got up here.
You know, somehow I knew that was going to happen, Robbo, but you know what? Such is life. You got to soldier on, don't you?
You do, and you do it well. Ben Lockwood, you are here as well, mate. You've been here all morning. You enjoyed a nice breakfast this morning, grand final breakfast, hosted by the SFNL. It was fantastic. We had Doom at Breton. How'd you go, mate? It was good, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was very good. Yeah, Doom spoke really well. Obviously, 5-day, 5-night time premiership player, so he didn't mind telling you about that, Robbo. So, no, it was good. Clint spoke really well, so yeah, really looking forward to a great day out here.
Well, we're just going to score behind us. There's very low score.
Goal on it.
The Dingoes. There you go.
Results. The Dingoes have just got their first goal. It's the first goal for the game in the second quarter. Of course, that rain came in right at the start of the game. They're about, up 8 points to 1. 1 goal, 2 that would make them. We'll see. We'll keep you updated with that score as we go on. Clint, Brooksy, your club, mate. Speak about 5-time night, 5-time day. This is probably what guys have been just around premierships a lot with this club. They've been fantastic, the Dingoes, over the last few years in the division number 1. You must be pretty proud of your club, mate, to be here again today.
Oh, yeah, 100%. It's a huge effort to keep coming up every year. Like I said, I'd like to take credit for it, but like I said, this is my second year as president. We actually won 3 in a row, and I took over, and we finished 4th last year. So, so it's we're back again this year for a shot. I mean, last year we had some excuses of injuries and whatnot, and here again we're here almost full strength. So yeah, it's a great effort, and like I said, here we go again. So it's a 50-50 game.
Lockers, you've been around this division for a while, and I've watched them pretty closely. They are a successful club, and it's going to be another great day for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, they're the powerhouse of the comp, no doubt, and they have been ever since they come back into the comp about 15 years ago from the old Southwest Gippy days. So yeah, they're the envy of everyone else in Southern footy. So, and again, 3 sides in the big day. You know, 19s, reserves, and seniors, which is huge for a club. Obviously, Brooksy makes it super hard for you. What time did you start this morning?
This morning was about 6:30. She went down to the club, just cleared out all the tables and chairs. They actually had a wake there at the footy club yesterday, so we couldn't go and put balloons up when they had a wake there. So we waited till this morning, but yeah, it's going to be a long day. But like I said, hopefully we're running on adrenaline by 6 o'clock tonight, and it just carries on.
Keeps going.
It goes to Tuesday, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not to mention your thirds also made finals, and your women in the netball made a Division 1 grand final. So it's a whole. Your whole club's just got success written all over it.
Yeah, well, there's
certainly in the last couple of years, anyway.
Yeah, well, I mean, they've all had their chances, and like I said, the 3 chances today. We're already 1 down. The 19s got beat, obviously, but the reserves they're looking okay at the moment, and then the seniors are 50-50. But yeah, but the netballers as well. I mean, it's been a big effort, but we haven't got any silverware yet, so.
The under-19s unfortunately weren't able to get over St Kilda. St Kilda looked very big and strong, I must admit, out there today. And it wasn't a huge scoring game, very low scoring game. They weren't quite able to get there, but I suppose you'd be happy enough that you've got all those 10 going.
Yeah, we always knew we were going to be up against it in the 19s, and having said that, it wasn't our best side. I mean, Shane always picks his best side in the seniors. I think we've got 5 playing in the ones today, under 19s. There's 2 in the reserves out here. So, I mean, 7 players come back to the 19s. It's a different side altogether. But yeah, all credit to St Kilda City. They've been the best side all year, and like I said, they are big boys. They sort of intimidate our kids a little bit, but they had a crack, and like I said, got overrun in the end. But that's footy. But like I said, it wasn't one we come here. We were hopeful, but yeah, we knew we were up against it.
Look, so you played against this mob in the seniors, of course. We're talking about Cheltenham a couple of weeks ago now. It didn't go your way. It wasn't what you were expecting, I suppose. Cheltenham really fired up, came out, played some really good insatiable football, wasn't it? Fantastic, and they got all the way to the grand final straight away. So you've had to fight to get here.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen that done to us probably since last year, where a side just got hold of us and just they got us on the outside, and they were too quick, and it was a blowy day. It was a 5-goal win, I reckon, and they were 5 goals up at quarter time, and just never recovered after that. So it was one of those days we don't sort of write it off. You look back at it, and yeah, I think we were the hunter, and now we become we are the hunter now. So there we go.
Different perspective for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Now this week, big week at the track. How was training Thursday night? You know, has Shane done anything different in the last 2 weeks? Obviously, the most experienced coach in Southern footy. How's he handled this week and the change-up?
Yeah, well, I mean, 2 weeks ago after the Cheltenham game, there was a recovery session down at Morty Beach, and there was a meeting after that with all the players. And like I said, they've been through this situation before. They actually did 2 years against Morty, and they had that sort of it wasn't a leading team sort of thing, but there was a few home truths told amongst the boys, and they sort of regrouped since then. And obviously this week was a massive week on the track. It was game intensity all week, and Shane's been here before. He doesn't get too excited, Shane.
Yep.
Not at any stage has he smiled over the last 3 weeks, and he won't be smiling until 5 o'clock tonight. So.
That's Shane, though.
Yeah,
that's Shane.
exactly.
Yep, 100%. Obviously, a fantastic win last week over East Malvern. Do you go in unchanged with your lineup this week?
Correct. Yeah, it's unchanged this week. So it's like I said, last week they were a hell of a lot better. I mean, the week before, I mean, we found it hard to find a good player at the end of the day. Like I said, they were all just beaten on the day. So, but last week they were all up and about. It was very hard to make changes on that effort. So there was a couple of blokes miss out. I think we've had eight miss out altogether from the reserves who have been basically playing all year. So we're pretty much full strength today, apart from Jackson Pete, who's been out all year with a torn pec. But yeah, unchanged today, and like I said,
outside we know how good Noodles is, Danny Aids, Robbie Rooson and so on. Who are the guys to watch out for today? Maybe some of the younger guys you think can play a vital part in getting the Dingoes over the line.
Well, I think our backline's going to have to really stand up today. Like 2 weeks ago when we played Cheltenham, McTaggart and McLaren got hold of us. So I think if we can hold them, and like I said, we've got some big jobs down there. Obviously, Ray, he's a new recruit, who's come from Security City, big body. So I think if he can stand up, and obviously, Frosty's back in the side. He didn't play a couple of weeks ago. He's an old head, experienced head. He's played 4 premierships with Dingley, and he could be going for his 5th today. So he's if those guys can sort of stand up, they're not young as such, but like I said, we know who the players who stand up for us are the ones that are going to win the game, which are like the Noodles, the Fergs on the outside,
absolutely,
and Robbie Rooson with their pace today. So it looks like it's blue skies out there now. So. We'll see how it goes.
Where was that half an hour ago when I was doing the bloody hell? But obviously they've got a bevy of guns through their midfield. Obviously Wyatt Carton, Utica's had an incredible back half of the season. Do you guys sort of look to put some work into them, or do you just back your blokes to beat them hands down 1-on-1?
No, I think they've put some work in, especially looking at them 2 weeks ago. We hadn't actually seen is it Lutica?
Utica.
We hadn't seen him before. He hadn't played against us before, but he's last week he kicked 3 goals and best on ground, obviously. So. He'll have some close attention today, and I'm sure we've seen what Cheltenham's got to put up against us. Like Noodles will get tagged and whatnot. So yeah, there'll be some close checking there. They won't get us on the spread in the first 15 minutes like they did 2 weeks ago. So
Brooksy, we're really lucky to be involved in the breakfast this morning. We had Dermot Barrett come along as a special guest, and he talked us through all his premiership wins and what it meant to him. You came along and had a bit of a chat as well, and I asked you a question about the Dingoes, and not necessarily about the team. We're about to talk about the grand final team. Let's talk more about the club itself. You've got a lot of young kids down there, boys and girls, of course. You've got the netball club as well right there with you. You're servicing a lot of young people in the community. It's an absolute credit to Dingley, firstly. What are you looking forward to in the future with this football club? Developments? We talked about this breakfast morning already, but we'll give it to the people out there.
Yeah, like I said, we've got some exciting times coming ahead the next couple of years. I mean, at this stage we've got our pavilion, who people have been to Dingley before, holds about 150 people, and we're a club of nearly 600 to 700 playing participants, and we're actually restricted. We've actually got the one oval. So there's a new oval coming for our junior base next year, hopefully. So that's we've been trying to get up a women's side, but it just hasn't been achievable because we've only got the one ground. So next year we'll have another ground so we can get some juniors off and actually create some more game time on the oval for a Saturday, because obviously we've got super rules as well. So it's a big club. We've got new facilities coming in the next couple of years. We've been given a grant from the Kingston Council. So when that happens, like I said, it probably won't be next year, but probably the end of next year we're hoping. So, and when that comes along, it's it'll open up a lot more doors for us.
Because we've been lucky enough to do these GameFace shows live from some of the club rooms in and around this local area. We're down at Morty Allen. They've got a brand new facility there. They've got the upstairs. We're upstairs here at RCA. This is absolutely magnificent. I mean, it's swathed in sunlight now. It looks fantastic. You'd love to watch a game of football from here. You've got community level clubs now with facilities like this. This club absolutely deserves it.
100%.
Bloody oath. Sure.
The amount of people they're servicing. The grounds is an issue, and I want to talk about this for a second because you've got all the women's football coming into it, and rightly so. Cheltenham got the same issue. They've got the one ground. The ground it's a basket case on the end. I'm not talking mud. I'm talking just no grass anymore.
Just too much traffic.
What can we do about it? It's hard, isn't it?
It's really hard. So obviously the City of Kingston has got to work hard to create more grounds, which I know they are. They look at it. It's obviously rationalisation programs through the schools. A lot of the high schools now are trying to get their ovals up to standard so clubs like Dingley can hopefully send junior sides there on a Sunday to play footy instead of the overuse, because grounds, Dingley especially being one, Chelp being the other, their grounds are just overused absolutely at the moment.
Look, see, what I love about football clubs these days, and I'm talking community level, not AFL level, because AFL level's got the money, they're able to service a lot of different coterie groups, the supporter groups, the wife members and past. Doveton, where I played this year in Division 2, got a small club room, so it's a little bit harder to service those 200 clubs. I think they've got a 200 club down there. You'd obviously have a lot of those kind of guys. What would it mean to the football club to have this new facility where you can invite along your benefactors, people that are putting money into the club, and the people that have serviced the club for over how many hundred years?
Yeah. I mean, that's the ultimate goal for us. Like, we are not embarrassed by our sort of club rooms at the moment, but we sort of don't. We hold our functions elsewhere because we've literally outgrown them. Like, I was talking in the breakfast this morning about our presentation. Like, we're holding at the Dingley Hotel, who's one of our major sponsors, and they can only cater for 230 people. We've got 290, and we've got a waiting list of 60 at the moment to get our presentation on. I know it's a good problem to have, sort of thing in a way, but it just demonstrates the size of our club and how urgent we need these facilities just to, like I said, and I've been to Doveton's facilities, and you're right, it's a shoebox sort of thing, and such a nice ground, big ground, scoreboard, all that sort of stuff. It needs to be completed.
Whatever happens down at your ground, though, make sure you keep the cage. Do not get rid of the cage. It is one of the great elements of community footy.
I'll just warn you now, Brooksy. I reckon Wilbur might be in the cage tomorrow after what I saw last week at Springy District. So there's a fair chance he'll be down there come Sunday.
He's dropped his old team, Cheltenham. He's a Springbok through now. They've adopted him. They loved him down there in the districts. Half time here at RCEA. Dingley, 1 goal, 2-8. With 0 goals, 1 to Morty Alec. This is going to be a very low scoring game. Hopefully we get some free flowing football in the second half because the sun is out. Right, now I'm going to go to you two guys now because you're sitting on the fence. You don't support or work for these two clubs. What have you seen? Because we've talked a lot about these two clubs this year.
Yep.
We knew they'd go pretty close to winning grand finals. What have we talked about this year? What's impressed you about both? Go for it.
I think whenever Dingley seems to have a bit of a lull in form, they always seem to find a way to get themselves out of it. And just their back half of the year has been absolutely extraordinary. And they did it last year as well when we'd sort of thought, you know what, maybe the run's over, maybe they're going to miss finals for a long period, for the first time in a long while. And they just came home with a wet sail, and just the ability to turn things around when the going gets difficult is a mark of resilience that I don't think a lot of clubs have. And it's something that if I was a Dingley person, I'd wear with the badge of honour.
Absolutely. The important thing this year for both these sides is their youth. Shane Maud's really gone down the youth path. This year more so than maybe other years. As Brooksy said, there's five under 19 eligible kids playing seniors today. I think Chelsea the same, and they all actually have a really impact on the game. So it may come down to not the bottom 6 this week in the grand final. It might come down to the best kids, and Dingley's kids are as good as any in the comp. So we know the good ones are good. It's really down to what can a Faulkner Wood do, what can a Goldsmith do, and so on like that. That'll carry them a long way into this game. So really exciting.
Brooksy, we know you're going to be very busy today, competing grand final team. President obviously got lots of things to do. There's a few tents around the place. I'm sure you're going to go visit and get around amongst the people because you're a man of the people. Grand final days. We talked about this in the breakfast with Dermot Brett. They offer up anything and everything. You don't know which way they're going to go. There's no certainties in life, and there's certainly no certainties on grand final day. You can be the best team and you can lose it. What are you expecting from your boys when they take the ground today? What do you want to see? First thing you want to see from your boys? We spoke about this in the breakfast this morning.
Just I mean, when we're on, it's our tackling pressure, and like I said, that wasn't there 2 weeks ago. It was there last week, so I think that's what we'll be expecting. Like, it's going to be a fiery start, and I'm not sure where Cheltenham's heads are going to be at. Obviously, this is their first attempt at a senior Division 1 flag for nearly 80 odd years, I think it is. So, I mean, they're excited, and like I said, not a lot of them know the history. They're some are new to the club, sort of thing. But our guys have been here before, so you'd expect those cool heads and just to come through the fore. And like I said, that intensity in that first 10 minutes is going to be on. And I reckon after 10 minutes we'll know where Dingley's going to be at. So.
Yeah, for sure.
Wilbur?
Yeah, I'll just got to wish you the best of luck. I think it's going to be a fantastic game either way. So. Not sure which way it's going to go, but we'll preview that a little bit later on in the show, Lockers. But mate, wish you the absolute best of luck with it, mate, and it'd be great to see the Dingoes back up on top once again.
Cheers, lads. Thank you.
Good on you, Brooksy.
We'll take a short break and be back as we continue to prepare and get ready for a Division 1 Grand Final Southern Football Netball League, and it's going to be between the Dingoes and the Rosellas, two great clubs. We'll be back soon.
How do you measure the difference between success or failure? Sports Performance Tracking's GPS, the latest wearable sports technology developed for athletes and teams, gives you the advantage like global professional sports people. Monitor, compare and improve your individual or team's performance to get that winning edge.
It has given us an invaluable resource, not only as coaches to understand what our players are capable of at training on a game day, but more importantly for the players to understand what they're capable of and give them benchmarks to work towards every single week to make them better players in the long run.
Sports Performance Tracking GPS, your personal sports scientist. Available now at sportsperformancetracking.com.
Garley Trophy Centre is a long-established business that has been operating for over 47 years and is a leading retailer of trophies and awards in Melbourne. Our showroom is in Hallam with thousands of trophies on display. In October 2018, Garley Trophy Centre was incorporated into the Recognition ID business, which specialises in supplying name badges, signage and branded promotional items. We're all about sponsoring local clubs and giving back to the community.
Hi, Mark Petter from Petter Suspension and Brakes, family Australian-owned business, been around for 70 years. So our main services is obviously suspension and brakes. We've been specialising in suspension for the past 60 odd years, introduced brakes 5 or 6 years ago. Any suspension and brake needs, whether it's just from a basic repair to a full upgrade, we can take care of it.
We are highly competitive in all areas of banking activity. We've given back over $1,350,000 to community organisations.
We give 80% of our profits back to the community.
So why don't you come and join us, and together let's make a difference.
What, how, why, who? It all begins with you.
My name is Ross McFarlane. I'm the speaker for JLF Corporation's 7 Steps program. 7-Step program is basically built on taking your time to build a portfolio of properties with a focus on cash flow and compound growth. So what we're looking for is really anyone over 18 that wants to educate themselves, so when they're ready to go ahead, they've already got the knowledge there.
Melsafe is a leading provider of certification, audit and compliance services, specialising in safety, quality, environmental and chain of custody standards. We offer a professional service that provides you with assurance that your processes comply with relevant requirements. Visit our website to see how we can help you meet or maintain best practice for your compliance or certification needs.
How do you measure the difference between success or failure? Sports Performance Tracking's GPS, the latest wearable sports technology developed for athletes and teams, gives you the advantage like global professional sports people. Monitor, compare and improve your individual or team's performance to get that winning edge.
It has given us an invaluable resource, not only as coaches to understand what our players are capable of at training on a game day, but more importantly for the players to understand what they're capable of and give them benchmarks to work towards every single week to make them better players in the long run.
Sports Performance Tracking GPS, your personal sports scientist. Available now at sportsperformancetracking.com.
Garley Trophy Centre is a long-established business that has been operating for over 47 years and is a leading retailer of trophies and awards in Melbourne. Our showroom is in Hallam with thousands of trophies on display. In October 2018, Garlic Trophy Centre was incorporated into the Recognition ID business, which specialises in supplying name badges, signage and branded promotional items. We're all about sponsoring local clubs and giving back to the community.
Hi, Mark Petter from Petter Suspension and Brakes, family Australian-owned business, been around for 70 years. So our main services is obviously suspension and brakes. We've been specialising in suspension for the past 60 odd years, introduced brakes 5 or 6 years ago. Any suspension and brake needs, whether it's just from a basic repair to a full upgrade, we can take care of it.
We are highly competitive in all areas of banking activity. We've given back over $1,350,000 to community organisations.
We give 80% of our profits back to the community.
So why don't you come and join us, and together let's make a difference.
What, how, why, who? It all begins with you.
My name is Ross McFarlane. I'm the speaker for JLF Corporation's 7 Steps program. 7-step program is basically built on taking your time to build a portfolio of properties with a focus on cash flow and compound growth. So what we're looking for is really anyone over 18 that wants to educate themselves, so when they're ready to go ahead, they've already got the knowledge there.
Melsafe is a leading provider of certification, audit and compliance services, specialising in safety, quality, environmental and chain of custody standards. We offer a professional service that provides you with assurance that your processes comply with relevant requirements. Visit our website to see how we can help you meet or maintain best practice for your compliance or certification needs.
How do you measure the difference between success or failure? Sports Performance Tracking's GPS, the latest wearable sports technology developed for athletes and teams, gives you the advantage like global professional sports people. Monitor, compare and improve your individual or team's performance to get that winning edge.
It has given us an invaluable resource, not only as coaches to understand what our players are capable of at training on a game day, but more importantly for the players to understand what they're capable of and give them benchmarks to work towards every single week to make them better players in the long run.
Sports Performance Tracking GPS, your personal sports scientist. Available now at sportsperformancetracking.com.
Garlic Trophy Centre is a long-established business that has been operating for over 47 years and is a leading retailer of trophies and awards in Melbourne. Our showroom is in Hallam with thousands of trophies on display. In October 2018, Garlic Trophy Centre was incorporated into the Recognition ID business, which specialises in supplying name badges, signage and branded promotional items. We're all about sponsoring local clubs and giving back to the community.
Hi, Mark Petter from Petter Suspension and Brakes, family Australian-owned business, been around for 70 years. So our main services is obviously suspension and brakes. We've been specialising in suspension for the past 60 odd years, introduced brakes 5 or 6 years ago. Any suspension and brake needs, whether it's just from a basic repair to a full upgrade, we can take care of it.
Welcome back to RCEA Park, Linton Street, Moorabbin here for the Southern Football Netball League Grand Final Day, Division 1. It's exciting, the sun is out. We've already had one premiership won and lost, the under-19. St Kilda defeated the Dingley Dingoes. The Dingoes are featuring all day long. They're in the reserves at the moment out there. East Malvern, isn't it? Morty Alley. Morty Alley, get it right. Robbo taking on Dingley. Dingley winning that one at the moment, 1-2-8 to 0-1-1. We're very lucky. Very low scoring game, but that was because of the rain before. We're very lucky now to be joined on the panel by the Vice President of Cheltenham, because Cheltenham Rosellas, if you didn't already know, they're in the grand final against the Dingoes a little bit later on. Andrew Keachy, congratulations firstly, mate. Your clubby's there in the big dance and it's all about to go down.
Yeah, thanks, Robbo. It's exciting times. First grand final in the top division for the club since 1976. So
wow.
Absolutely magnificent times.
And the last win was 1934, I heard this morning.
In Division 1.
In Division 1, wow.
Hopefully the drought will be breaking today.
You'd hope so. Lockers, we just got a late change. Some information has come to light.
Yeah, we hear there might be a little bit of a family feud come tomorrow. Jackson Barclay into the side. He's come back from a knee injury, and Chris Germano out of the side, unfortunately. Is that right?
Yeah, Jack's one of our most experienced players.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, if he's fit, you play. So, but unfortunately, Chris, who's also been a great servant of the club, and as you mentioned, his cousin, unfortunately, Chris is very unlucky to miss out.
Tell you what, Christmas is going to be a little bit frosty with that family.
Chris Pringle together?
No, not. Will be excited about today, mate?
How could you not be? I mean, sun's out finally, and got the two best sides in the comp. How could you not be, mate? Grand final day, get around it. It's fantastic. It's what we're all here for. And, of course, as you said, the RSCA Park facility, great to have footy back here, and good crowd in. They're lining the hills, and there's tents and marquees and frothy stores, and, mate, it's all happening today.
Keachy, you'd be pretty impressed with your boys, though, over the last 5, 6, 7, even 8, 10 weeks. They've been fantastic. A few injuries during the year that we've spoken about on the show as we went through the year. You've got it together at the right time of year, and straight into a grand final, had a week off. That was fantastic. You must be pretty proud.
Yeah, the week off is always well chased after by clubs in the finals. Second semi is always very important. Yeah, we had a couple of injuries which were early in the year. And over the last, as you said, 8 to 10 weeks, the team's been very settled. There's been 1 or 2 changes. And our president has wanted to mention, I think, the games that we've lost, they've been narrow losses.
Yeah.
So we're very confident we can do well again.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, you've watched them a lot this year.
I have, yeah. They're one of my local clubs just up the road from where I live. And the thing that's really impressed me this year, Coach, has been your kids. You've got 6 or 7 of probably the best kids in the competition. Sam Hayes down back has been outstanding. You've got young Finn Ryan, the coach's son. Hopefully they can come and play today. How are their nerves leading up to today's game?
Yeah, well, I'm sure there's nerves, but I'm sure there's excitement as well. So young kids, they're very excited to play footy. So I'm sure they'll have a real crack today. And the thing that's been impressed with the young boys is they're still under 19 eligible.
Yeah.
But they've played all year in the seniors. And Des is, the last couple of years, Des has promoted some under 19 kids if they've done well. And then once they've sort of struggled a little bit, he's dropped them back. But the guys this year in Luke Garnett, Cam Blitzers, they've really held their own, and they've been very important players.
Oh, absolutely.
And they've been it's been a bit of a meteoric rise this year, I guess, because you've been out of the finals since about 2014, I think, and then straight through to a grand final. Did you sort of expect this improvement so quickly?
I'd probably say no. We were just excited to actually get back into the finals. We've had some slow starts the last couple of years, and we've come home with a full head of steam, and we've lost a game here and there to a team we really should have beaten, and in the end that cost us. And that was one of Des's main focus this year is win at home, and don't lose to teams that you shouldn't lose to. For example, a team down the bottom, you play them at home, you make sure you beat them at home.
And sometimes you learn a lot more from those losses than you do the wins. If you go through a season undefeated, it can probably be a little bit more damaging. So obviously you boys have learnt, the boys down at Weatherall Road have learnt from their losses this year. Because you'd be pretty bullish about this team's opportunities into the future. I played for a team down in Geelong, St Joseph's, coached them, brought through some kids early days and stuck with them. And for the next 5, 6 years, powerhouse, and St Joe's have gone on, I think, 3 premierships or 4 premierships on the back of just blooding these young kids.
Absolutely.
It seems like that's what's happening at Cheltenham.
Yeah, I suppose, Keachy, one question I've got for you, that's probably what you're thinking. This is coming into an absolute golden era for the Cheltenham Footy Club. Today you win, I say you're favourites to win, massive bonus, but you really should be cementing yourself for the next 4 to 5 years with the list you've got.
And it was important again this year to establish an under-19s team,
Yep.
which we got through our connection with Cheltenham Panthers, and they were a very young group. They won one game, but just to have a young group of kids around the club, and Des has actually had a group of them training with the senior team to just get them involved and, you know, learn off guys like Daniel Vaughan and Jack Worrell, and just to, you know, just meet these guys. And even though they're playing under 19s, they actually always stayed around and watched the seniors. They're very well connected.
We were really lucky this morning to have Dermot Berry come and speak to us at a breakfast, and he talked about obviously a wealth of experience in grand finals at the top level. And we asked him the question, what do you got to do on a grand final day that's different? Anything special? Do you just do the same stuff? I thought his answer was fantastic. He talked about what can I do for the team at any given moment on the day. You can't keep grand finals the same as home and away. It's just not the same. It's very different. There's a lot more emotion involved. There's a lot more people obviously here. But what can you do differently? He said, just do something for the team. What do you want to see from your boys when they run out in the park in probably just under an hour's time?
I just want to see them stick to the values that Des has pushed into them all year. Play as a team in your areas. The back line has absolutely been magnificent this year. Centre line as well. So they're playing in little teams throughout the ground, and just look after each other. You know, share the ball around. Most importantly, just enjoy the day as much as you can. And as Dermot said, it's not another game. No. It's a very different game. But hopefully, with a little bit of experienced players that have played a lot of footy, hopefully all goes well today.
And obviously you guys made a massive statement a fortnight ago on this ground against the very same side. You gave them the old short back and sides, about 50 points I think you won by in the end, and really sent a massive statement to the rest of the competition that you're here to win it. Do you go in with that same sort of belief that you can actually get the job done today? It'd be a massive leg up for sure.
Definitely the second semi-final was a boost of confidence. A lot of the boys hadn't played here, so Des asked the guys to come down and have a kick of the footy before the second semi, just to have a look at the ground. You know, it's an AFL standard size ground. It's a lot bigger than what the boys are used to playing on. So, you know, when they walked here on the second semi, it wasn't such a strange place to them. And the second semi-final will certainly give the boys a lot of confidence to say that we can beat Dingley, and hopefully it'll happen today.
Well, Keach, it's all about to go down out here on this magnificent oval, stooped in history down here. St Kilda have been here for a long time. Hopefully you can create your own history today. 1934, that's a long premiership drought in Division 1, of course. We must remember to say that in Division 1.
Tell you what, this man's had a fair bit of history with this ground, haven't you, Keachy?
Yeah, well actually, I worked at St Kilda Footy Club as a doorman for 18 years, and I pretty much grew up here as a kid, so it was a little bit emotional coming back here the other week, and I actually parked the car in the same spot where my mum and dad used to park, just a bit sentimental.
She's a little different around here now, though, isn't it?
Certainly is.
The old social club?
The old social club and the grandstands, but just to drive down Linton Street and to play at an AFL ground, it's exciting, and the facilities here are really good, and the boys have actually enjoyed, having a locker and having a meeting room to sit on, so, all that sort of thing, and it just makes for a great, exciting day.
Well, it's only going to get even better for you around here. I feel like in about 3 or 4 hours' time, you might be just sitting on top of the pedestal. I'm not going to moz anything for you, mate. The work has to be done, but we wish you, Keachy, all the best for your football club. Break that drought and get a Division 1 premiership. I think you do it. He thinks you can do it. I'm sure Wilbur is really confident you can get it done. Best of luck, mate. Go well.
Thank you guys for the support.
Well done.
Really good this year to provide great coverage for the teams, and thank you very much again, and on behalf of everyone at Cheltenham, hopefully get some good support today, and we can take the game home.
Yeah, pleasure, Keith.
Good luck. Unreal. We're on.
Absolute superstar. We're going to take a break, and we'll be back with the final segment here at RCEA Park. It's the SFNL Division 1 Grand Final season.
How do you measure the difference between success or failure? Sports Performance Tracking's GPS, the latest wearable sports technology developed for athletes and teams, gives you the advantage like global professional sports people. Monitor, compare and improve your individual or team's performance to get that winning edge.
It has given us an invaluable resource, not only as coaches to understand what our players are capable of at training on a game day, but more importantly for the players to understand what they're capable of and give them benchmarks to work towards every single week to make them better players in the long run.
Sports Performance Tracking GPS, your personal sports scientist. Available now at sportsperformancetracking.com.
Garley Trophy Centre is a long-established business that has been operating for over 47 years and is a leading retailer of trophies and awards in Melbourne. Our showroom is in Hallam with thousands of trophies on display. In October 2018, Garlic Trophy Centre was incorporated into the Recognition ID business, which specialises in supplying name badges, signage and branded promotional items. We're all about sponsoring local clubs and giving back to the community.
Hi, Mark Pedder from Pedder Suspension and Brakes, family Australian-owned business, been around for 70 years. So our main services is obviously suspension and brakes. We've been specialising in suspension for the past 60 odd years. Introduced brakes 5 or 6 years ago. Any suspension and brake needs, whether it's just from a basic repair to a full upgrade, we can take care of it.
We are highly competitive in all areas of banking activity. We've given back over $1,350,000 to community organisations.
We give 80% of our profits back to the community.
So why don't you come and join us, and together let's make a difference.
What, how, why, who? It all begins with you.
My name is Ross McFarlane. I'm the Speaker for JLF Corporation's 7 Steps program. 7-Step program is basically built on taking your time to build a portfolio of properties with a focus on cash flow and compound growth. So what we're looking for is really anyone over 18 that wants to educate themselves, so when they're ready to go ahead, they've already got the knowledge there.
MelSafe is a leading provider of certification, audit and compliance services, specialising in safety, quality, environmental and chain of custody standards. We offer a professional service that provides you with assurance that your processes comply with relevant requirements. Visit our website to see how we can help you meet or maintain best practice for your compliance or certification needs.
Welcome back to Linton Street, Moorabbin. We are at RSEA Park. I've got to get that right. I've said it probably wrong about 5-10 times now already.
You got it right now, so
it's not our sponsor, so it doesn't really matter. It's your sponsor.
It's fair to say you're not decked out with your gear, mate, so you're all right.
Is that a politics sort of number?
No, well, actually it is, yes. It's a cheapie.
Well, you should have gone. There.
Well, I forgot it this morning. I must have this fridge locker. I've got to go into bat for myself. I was hosting a breakfast for this great man. It's the CEO of the Southern Football Netball League, Lee Hartman, and it was a great breakfast this morning, wasn't it, Lethal? We had Dermot Brereton come along and talk to us about premierships and grand finals. We're about to see one out here today. Your boys, Division 1.
Yeah, look, it was a great start to the day. As you said, Dermy was good, and you weren't too bad as MC. And we obviously made a few big announcements with a major naming rights partner for the next 3 years, which was very exciting for the league as well. And to hear from the club presidents, it was a good start to the day.
Well, let's talk about that. Naming rights partner. Excuse me, partnerships is what it's all about, and you've got a good one.
Yeah, look, we've been able to get the southern cluster of the Bendigo Bank on board, which represents around 23 branches in the southern region, to come on board. The Bendigo Bank have been great community partners of football clubs for a long time. They work with the clubs individually, but to come on as the naming rights partner for 3 years for the league is a massive coup for us, and we look forward to working with them.
Yeah.
They're doing some massive things down here at the SFNL, and we know we've touched on it a couple of times throughout the year, but how good is it to have Division 1 finals back here at the home of Southern League footy?
Oh, it's fantastic. I mean, you only got to look at the day here today, and the infrastructure's great here. We'll get better with the grandstand and the permanent scoreboard, etc. But to have a home base that play the finals here, Div 1, a great sized ground like AFL sized ground. Div 1 really deserves that, and it's great to be back here. And the punters I've spoken to today are wrapped that we're back here.
Absolutely. Why wouldn't they be?
No, 100% Lee, and expect a good crowd today. 2 really traditional clubs for Southern Footy League. Cheltenham Footy Club, we know, been starved to success, so local club, they'll come out and thousands, hopefully it'll be a great day.
Yeah, look, I think in the breakfast it was mentioned they haven't won a Div 1 flag since 1934, I believe, and obviously Dingley have had great success in our league, so it's going to be a great great game. Although Dingley finished on top, probably the top 5 are as good as each other this year. So, look, it's really the old traditional 50-50 game. I mean, Cheltenham will go in confident after the second semi, but Dingley obviously got back on track last week.
Well, Lee, we might talk about all the divisions now. We've been talking about Division 1. We've had the vice president of one club and we've had the president of another on. Now we've got the man who sits on the top of all of these divisions. You've got a few to look after. Let's go to Division 2 now, because we'll get this won and lost today later on. But those other...
straight to Division 3, I think.
Next one, Dan.
Look, Division 2 was fantastic. I mean, once again, a bit like Division 1, the top 4 or 5 were as good as each other.
Yep.
Obviously, the Doves and Eagles got it together come finals time and probably played their best footy in the last month of the year, and that's what finals are all about. So, a fantastic win. I said in the breakfast, to come from an elimination final at senior level is an almighty effort, and it doesn't happen often.
No.
So to win from 4th was a great credit to obviously Shane McGrath and the club. And obviously now going into Div 1, they've got a good platform with that growth area out there to actually cement themselves as a good Div 1 club.
Yeah.
So that was fantastic. In Div 3, I mean, Hampden Park to win the seniors and reserves doesn't happen often.
First time in their club's history, I believe.
Yeah, and the club the coach on grand final day says it's the greatest day in the club's history. And that just speaks volume of how much that meant to them.
Absolutely.
You know, they were close the year before, so to do it this year was fantastic. And South Yarra have had their own, I suppose, troubles down the grades with their ground and everything else. So for them to win a senior flag in Div 4 was also a fantastic effort. So yeah, it was good.
And I think, Wilbur, and you can probably speak to this well because you've got along to all the grand final days, everything was played and won, and the supporters, and everything was in fine spirit. You'd be pretty happy with that. The CEO would be happy with that. What did you see?
Absolutely, and that was that's probably the most pleasing aspect of it all. I mean, at the end of the day, we're playing community footy, and you want to see it played in good spirits, and it certainly was. There's a mutual respect for all the clubs, and you know, congratulations to all the winners, and the losers just took it in their stride, which is fantastic to see. And they're all worthy winners, that's for sure. And especially congratulations to our man as well. We haven't said it so far on this show, but the star of the show in the Divi 2 Grand Final.
Wow, where'd that come from?
I did get a bit emotional on the day, but we were able to get over your boys, Springvale District.
My boys?
Apparently it's a Springvale District show.
Come on, mate.
I heard Doveton didn't get much of a rap, and he had to wear the jumper as pennant. So
he did.
Stretched the hell out of it. So needed the bloody jaws of life to get me out of that thing. Thanks for the stitch up.
Yeah, no, that was a great outcome. But look, we've had some great crowds during the finals as well. Look, you know, we work to the motto a bit. It's competition on the field, but it's working together off the field. And the clubs are really good in this league about doing that. So we all play to win once we cross the white line. But when we come together, whether it's around strategy for the league or just working together and helping each other out, the clubs are really good.
Just quickly on strategy, we talked to a couple of important people, very important people at both clubs already on the show. Their concerns and the word getting around is, grounds. It's hard to get grounds to service all these kids that are coming to play football in our Southern Football Netball League. You've got netballers as well. So this is probably one of the biggest issues for you, working with councils and making sure there's enough facility, grounds out there, grass, patches of grass, so kids can go and play football.
Yeah, look, it's a real challenge, especially in a bayside. We're pretty landlocked, so we won't be building more ovals. So we've got to think outside the square. What we've done for 100 years with fixturing, the seniors and reserves and the 19s on the Saturday, we need to look at things like that. Women's footy's obviously going to take up some space. Do we look at midweek games, night games? The juniors are going through a strategy piece at the moment where they may look at capping teams as well, because some of the clubs are very big, probably too big. Yeah. It's not sustainable, and there's not enough room for them to move into senior football. So we'd rather have a greater spread at the bottom of the pyramid. So it is a challenge. In October, I've got 9 of our 11 councils we deal with coming in for a strategy meeting, and that'll be high on the agenda around oval use. We know they've got pretty strict around pre-season training. We have cricket season, we have football season, and they never should intertwine, but we obviously have different thoughts around that. So getting the councils to come in, we now have a facility strategy, and to work with the councils firsthand, we can at least get on the same page as a sport and work towards greater outcomes.
Well, we've got to move on. We've got to finish this show off because we've got a grand final about there, and you've got plenty to do before that, I'm sure, and then we might enjoy just a nice, cool frothy a little bit later on, because we worked pretty hard to get here. Some success stories for all three of you. I'm going to start down the end with you, Lockers. Just clubs, players, anything that you've seen. Obviously, you're doing majority of your work in Division 1. You're across all of them, and you're across all of them as well. So a success story for you for 2019.
I think the biggest success for Southern this year has been 2 sides playing there today. There's actually 11 under 19 qualified kids playing in a senior grand final. Yeah. I think the clubs in Southern have come a long way, probably the last 5 or 6 years, of really promoting their youth. And you see it in a lot of Division 1 clubs. I know in Division 2 it's filtering through with some of the Bayside clubs that I know a little bit about. So I think this year the league would be really proud at the end of the day when you look at it, results given, clubs will have success, clubs are going to win, clubs are going to come second. The amount of kids, 18, 19-year-old kids that are playing really great senior footy, I reckon is a massive turnaround for Southern footy from years ago when it was probably known as a little bit of a rough and tumble league. That's absolutely changed, and it's the work of Lee and the Southern Footy League. So I think that's something we can really be proud of as a competition.
Wilbur?
And just further to that, I mean, if you have a look at the team list in the footy record, the amount of A-grade players that are playing in that competition, or for both of these sides, just goes to show that the Southern Footy and Netball League, as you say, it used to have a bit of a bad rap back in the day, but it's now a competition where the top line players actually want to come down and they want to play Southern footy. And I think that's a credit to the team down at the SFNL and of course the clubs themselves and the work that they do in providing a great atmosphere and to be around and to play footy at. But the other success story, I guess, the premiers themselves. I mean, each senior division premier has got a bit of a story behind it. I mean, we spoke of South Yarra and the difficulties that they had with the ground. I mean, they weren't even sure if they'd get a side up on the back of that, and they've won a Division 4 premiership. Hampton Park, they've had years and years and years of struggles in the old South East League, and they've now won seniors and reserves premierships for the first time in their history. And of course, as you say, Doveton Eagles coming from 4th to win a flag is a damn good effort. And they
as much as you hate to say it.
Shut up, Lockers. No, it's a tremendous effort. It really is, and it's a credit to all of those clubs. And of course, whoever wins here today, it'll be a fantastic story either way. Cheltenham a massive Division 1 drought, and of course Dingley 4 flags in 5 years it'll be. I mean, what a story that'll all be.
Yeah, and Lee, you've come from a different league, from the Geelong Football League. Very big league down there. A lot of kids playing football. You've come to this one. I think you've done a great job over the last 12 months. What's been your success story?
Oh, look, when I came here, it was about promoting the league, and as like I said, trying to lift the quality of the league. So some of the things we introduced this year, obviously the work you guys have done at GameFace, just filming the games each week through Sportscast Australia, streaming games, introducing things like the match review panel. We just want to lift the standard, the whole quality product of the product, and I think we've been able to do that. We've got a little way to go, but we're on the right track. So the highlight for me has probably been the professionalism that the league has now got. We've got great facilities here. We've now got a major naming rights partner. We've lifted the standard, and we want to attract players. Now, clubs, as they move up the divisions, will be able to do that on the back of some of the work we're doing. So that's great. So one of the other highlights for me was this year in netball, we grew to 10 divisions. The netball's only been going for 4 or 5 years, 10 divisions. That grand final day there with 10 premiers on that day was a fantastic day and a great celebration of women's sport. The women's senior footy continues to grow as well, and today we're going to have a fantastic game today, there's no doubt about that.
Can't wait to crack into this game. It is three-quarter time here between Dingley and Morty Alec. 5-3-33, 2-1-13. I would say Dingley are going to get a reserves grand final, reserves premiership.
Yep.
Will they get the seniors premiership, or will it be the Cheltenham Rosellas? I'm gunning for the Rosellas. I live nice and close to those guys. They haven't won one since 1934. It'll be a great story. I'm not biased. I don't have any allegiances there, but I'm going to get a tip from all three of you, and then I'm going to sign this show off, and we're going to go and get a nice cold one, aren't we? We're going to relax.
We've been here for a long time.
We'll get a tip and points margin, please.
I actually said Chelt, GameFace round 1, I think. I said Chelt were flag favourite and they'd win the flag, so I'll stick to Chelt. I think it'll be a lot closer than 2 weeks ago. Dingley will stick at it. They'll give them a real hard contest. I'll say Chelt by 8 points.
Ooh, 8 points.
I think Cheltenham deservedly go into today as favourites, but when you just get that gut feeling about a side, I think Dingley's big game experience might just see them over the line, but you're right, won't be much in it either way. But I reckon, of all the players on that ground, I reckon Utica's the one that'll probably have the biggest impact. He's had an outstanding back half of the season, so I'm looking forward to seeing what he brings to the table on the big dance. Leroy.
So Dingley by not much. We'll go to you, Leith.
Yeah, I'm definitely not tipping a draw because I don't want extra time, and I'm definitely not coming back next week. So, look, 85 years without a senior flag. I'd like to see Cheltenham win. It'd be a fairy tale for them. They had a great win in the second semi. They were on top for most of the year until they dropped a couple late in the season. I think they've been a great team all year, so I'd like to see them get up 85 years of a drought broken. Would be a great result.
I'm with you, Lee. I'm going to go for Cheltenham, and I think it might be over 20 points. They're just going to be full of emotion. They're going to run away with it. That has been the show. Thanks for joining us here live at RSEA Park, Linton Street, Moorabbin. It is fantastic down here. If you hadn't had a chance to come and watch some football next year, 2020, come and watch some football at this ground.
Yeah, get in now.
There's absolutely plenty of time. There's food up on the hill there. There's heaps of people.
There's jumping castles for the kids. There's all sorts.
Great family atmosphere.
Get on the jumping castle before I jump in there and break it.
You might bounce over the fence.
Will you let me back in? I haven't got my pass.
Wouldn't be the first time you've been kicked out this week, will it?
Loggers, Wilbur, Lee, thank you very much for joining us. Get your game face on. See you later.
Cheers.